From confusion to clarity, unlocking the power of financial confidence. Welcome to the BlackCEO Podcast, where we dive deep into the minds of visionaries who are reshaping our world. Today, we're in for a treat that's going to challenge everything you thought you knew about business finance and personal growth. I recently had the extraordinary privilege of sitting down with Tiffany Watson, a true luminary in the realm of financial empowerment and business coaching. Tiffany isn't just changing the game, she's rewriting the rules entirely, and her insights are nothing short of revolutionary. Imagine, if you will, a world where financial clarity isn't just a pipe dream, but a tangible reality for everyone. A world where the paralyzing fear of financial decisions is replaced by unwavering confidence. That's the world Tiffany Watson is working tirelessly to create, one empowered individual at a time. Her mission? To transform the way we think about money, success, and our own potential. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Here we go again, another financial guru with promises too good to be true. But let me tell you, Tiffany is different. She doesn't deal in empty promises or get-rich-quick schemes. Instead, she offers something far more valuable, the tools to achieve genuine financial clarity and the confidence that comes with it. Let's start with a simple yet profound statement that Tiffany shared during our conversation. Clarity breeds confidence. Now, I know that might sound like something you'd find inside a fortune cookie, but don't let its simplicity fool you. These three words hold the power to completely revolutionize your approach to business, finances, and life itself. Think back to the last time you felt truly confident about a decision. I'm willing to bet it was when you had a crystal clear understanding of the situation, the numbers, and the potential outcomes. That's not coincidence, my friends. That's the power of clarity at work. But here's the kicker. Clarity isn't some mystical state that descends upon you like a fog lifting on a spring morning. It's not something you stumble upon by accident while rifling through your junk drawer. No, clarity is something you actively pursue, something you cultivate with intention and purpose. And that's exactly what Tiffany has dedicated her career to helping people achieve. Now, I can almost hear some of you protesting. Sure, clarity sounds great, but my situation is a mess. My finances are a disaster zone. My business is hanging on by a thread. How am I supposed to find clarity in all of that? Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to dive into exactly how you can do just that. Tiffany's approach is all about breaking down complex financial situations into bite-sized, digestible pieces. It's about shining a spotlight into those dark, cobwebby corners of your business or personal finances that you've been studiously avoiding. Because let's face it, we've all got those corners, don't we? Those areas we'd rather not examine too closely because we're afraid of what creepy crawlies might scuttle out. But here's the truth bomb Tiffany drops. Those dark corners are where the real magic happens. They're where you uncover the insights that can catapult your business to the stratosphere or finally get your personal finances on track. And Tiffany, she's like a financial Indiana Jones, helping you navigate those treacherous territories and uncover the hidden treasures within. Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this point. Tiffany once worked with a client who came to her feeling utterly overwhelmed by their business finances. This client was making money, and not just chump change, we're talking serious dough, but they had about as much idea where it was all going as a squirrel has about quantum physics. They were stuck in a cycle of feast and famine, never quite sure if they'd be dining on caviar or cat food from 1 month to the next. Sound familiar? I thought it might. It's a tale as old as commerce itself. So what did Tiffany do? Did she start throwing around fancy financial jargon like she was competing in the Wall Street Olympics? Did she whip out complex spreadsheets that looked like they were designed by a caffeinated octopus? Nope. She started with something much simpler, yet infinitely more powerful. She helped the client get clear on their numbers. They went through every aspect of the business finances together. Income, expenses, profit margins. They laid it all out on the table like they were planning a military campaign. And you know what happened? As they worked through this process, something remarkable began to unfold. The client started to see patterns they'd never noticed before, like they'd suddenly acquired financial x-ray vision. They identified areas where they were hemorrhaging money and others where they were practically giving away their services for free. But more than that, they started to feel a sense of control. The overwhelm began to fade, replaced by a growing confidence. Because now they weren't just looking at a jumble of numbers that made about as much sense as a Jackson Pollock painting. They were looking at a clear picture of their business. And with that clarity came the ability to make informed decisions.
to set realistic goals and to chart a course for sustainable growth that didn't involve praying to the lottery gods every week. This, my friends, is the power of clarity in action. It's not just about understanding your numbers, although that's certainly a crucial part of it. It's about gaining a deeper understanding of your business as a whole. It's about aligning your actions with your goals, your spending with your values. It's about taking control of your financial destiny instead of letting it control you. But Tiffany's insights don't just apply to business. They're equally powerful when it comes to personal finances. How many of us have felt that knot in our stomach when we think about our personal financial situation? How many of us have avoided looking at our bank statements or credit card bills because we're afraid they might spontaneously combust if we so much as glance at them? Tiffany's message is clear. It's time to face those fears head on. Because the truth is, no matter how scary your financial situation might seem, clarity is always better than confusion. Knowledge is always better than ignorance. Even if the numbers aren't what you want them to be right now, knowing where you stand is the first step towards improving your situation. After all, you can't navigate your way out of a maze if you refuse to look at the map. Let me share another story that really drives this point home. Tiffany once worked with a couple who came to her on the brink of divorce. Their relationship was more strained than a pair of yoga pants at an all-you-can-eat buffet. And at the root of it all were their finances. They were constantly arguing about money, each blaming the other for their financial struggles. It was like watching a tennis match, but instead of a ball, they were lobbing blame back and forth across the net. Tiffany's approach, you guessed it. She helped them get clear on their numbers, but she didn't stop there. She also helped them get clear on their goals, their values, and their vision for their future together. Because money isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about what those dollars and cents represent. Our hopes, our dreams, our fears. As they worked through this process, something amazing happened. The blame game started to fade away. Instead of pointing fingers at each other, they started working together to find solutions. They began to see their finances not as a source of conflict, but as a shared challenge they could overcome together. It was like watching two people who had been rowing in opposite directions suddenly realize they were in the same boat. By the end of their work with Tiffany, not only had their financial situation improved dramatically, but their relationship had been transformed. They had a shared financial plan, clear goals they were working towards together, and a renewed sense of partnership. They went from the brink of divorce to planning their second honeymoon. Talk about a financial fairy tale. This story illustrates a crucial point. Clarity in your finances doesn't just impact your bank account. It ripples out into every area of your life. It can strengthen your relationships, reduce your stress levels, and give you a greater sense of control over your future. It's like a financial superpower minus the spandex suit and cape. But here's the thing. Achieving this kind of clarity isn't always easy. It requires courage. It requires a willingness to face the truth of your situation, even when that truth is more uncomfortable than a wool sweater in a heat wave. It requires a commitment to ongoing learning and growth. And that's where Tiffany's second key insight comes in. You don't have to have it all figured out to take the next best step. This idea is so important, especially for those of us who tend to get paralyzed by perfectionism or overwhelmed. Too often, we wait until we have everything figured out before we take action. We tell ourselves that we need to know exactly where we're going and how we're going to get there before we can start moving forward. But the truth is, that kind of certainty is about as real as a unicorn riding a hoverboard. The path to success is rarely a straight line. It's more like a drunken game of hopscotch with a few steps forward, a couple back, and the occasional stumble to keep things interesting. Tiffany's approach is all about empowering you to take those steps, even when you're not sure where they'll lead. It's about giving you the tools and the confidence to make decisions based on the information you have right now, while remaining flexible enough to adjust course as you learn and grow. It's about embracing the journey, not just fixating on the destination. This mindset shift can be incredibly liberating. Instead of feeling stuck because you don't have all the answers, you can focus on taking the next best step. Instead of being paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong decision, you can embrace each decision as an opportunity to learn and grow. It's like giving yourself permission to be a work in progress rather than expecting to emerge fully formed like Athena from Zeus's forehead. Let me share one more story that really brings this point home. Tiffany once worked with an entrepreneur who had a brilliant business idea but was hesitating to launch because they felt they needed to have everything perfect from day one. They were caught in a cycle of endless planning and preparation, always finding one more thing they needed to do before they could start. It was like they were trying to build a rocket ship in their garage before they even learned to ride a bike. Tiffany worked with this client to shift their perspective. Instead of aiming for perfection, they focused on progress. They identified the minimum viable product they could launch with and set a deadline. Then they worked backwards from that deadline, identifying the key steps they needed to take to make it happen. It was like they were building a bridge as they walked across it, one plank at a time. The result, the client launched their business months earlier than they would have if they continued waiting for everything to be perfect. And you know what? It wasn't perfect. There were hiccups and challenges along the way. But here's the beautiful part. Each of those challenges became an opportunity for growth and improvement. By taking action and launching the imperfect but good enough product, this entrepreneur was able to get real feedback from real customers. They were able to iterate and improve based on actual market responses, not just their own assumptions. And most importantly, they were able to start generating revenue and building momentum in their business. They went from perpetual planning mode to actually making things happen. It was like watching a caterpillar finally emerge from its cocoon, spreading its wings and taking flight. This story perfectly illustrates the power of taking the next best step, even when you don't have everything figured out. It's about embracing imperfection as a part of the journey, not a roadblock to success. It's about understanding that done is better than perfect and that progress beats paralysis every single time. But let's be real for a moment. This approach isn't always easy. It requires a level of trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the process, and sometimes trust in a guide who can help light the way. And that's exactly what Tiffany does for her clients. She's not just a financial coach, she's a clarity catalyst, a confidence builder, a guide on the journey from confusion to clarity, from paralysis to action. She's like a financial Gandalf, minus the pointy hat and magical staff. As we start to wrap up our time together, I want to leave you with a challenge. Think about an area of your life or business where you've been feeling stuck. Maybe it's your finances. Maybe it's a business decision you've been putting off. Maybe it's a personal goal you've been afraid to pursue. Whatever it is, I want you to identify it right now. Go ahead. I'll wait. One, sir. Got it. Good. Now ask yourself, what's the next best step you could take in that area? Not the perfect step, not the complete solution, just the next best step. It might be as simple as scheduling time to review your finances. It might be reaching out to a potential client or partner. It might be signing up for a class to learn a new skill. Whatever it is, I want you to commit to taking that step right here, right now. Because here's the truth. Clarity doesn't come from thinking about taking action. It comes from taking action. It comes from moving forward, even when you're not sure where the path will lead. It's like turning on a flashlight in a dark room. You might not be able to see the whole room at once, but you can see enough to take the next step. And each step you take illuminates a little more of the path ahead. Remember, you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be willing to start, to take that next best step. Because each step you take brings you closer to the clarity you seek, closer to the confidence you desire, closer to the success you deserve. It's like a financial snowball effect. Each small action builds on the last, gathering momentum as it goes. As Tiffany so powerfully reminded us, clarity breeds confidence. And confidence, well, confidence can change everything. It can transform your business, your finances, your relationships, and your life. It's like a secret ingredient that can turn a mediocre recipe into a 5-star dish. So let's embrace clarity. Let's pursue it with intention and purpose. Let's have the courage to shine a light on those dark corners of our finances and our lives. Let's commit to taking the next best step, even when we're not sure where it will lead. Because when you combine clarity with action,
you create momentum. And momentum, so that's where the magic happens. That's where transformation occurs. That's where you start to see real, tangible changes in your life, in your business. But let's not stop there. Let's take this a step further. I want you to imagine a world where financial clarity isn't the exception, but the norm. A world where people aren't paralyzed by financial fear, but empowered by financial knowledge. A world where conversations about money aren't taboo, but are open, honest, and productive. That's the world Tiffany Watson is working to create, and it's a world we can all contribute to building. So here's my call to action for you. Don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share it, spread it. Be a beacon of financial clarity in your community. Talk to your friends about money. Have open conversations with your partner about your financial goals. Teach your kids about the value of financial literacy. Because when we lift ourselves up financially, we have the power to lift up those around us. And to the entrepreneurs out there, I challenge you to bring this spirit of clarity and confidence into your businesses. Don't just focus on your bottom line. Focus on the impact you can make. Use your business as a force for good, a vehicle for change. Because when businesses operate with clarity and purpose, they have the power to transform not just individual lives, but entire communities. As we close, I want to express my deepest gratitude to Tiffany Watson for sharing her insights and wisdom with us. Her approach to financial empowerment and business growth is truly transformative. And I hope her words have inspired you as much as they've inspired me. She's not just changing lives, she's changing the very fabric of how we think about money and success. Remember, your journey to clarity and confidence starts now. It starts with the next best step. So, what will your next step be? How will you pursue clarity in your life and business? How will you use that clarity to build confidence and create the success you desire? These aren't just rhetorical questions. I want you to really think about them because the answers to these questions are the first steps on your path to financial empowerment. The answers to these questions are uniquely yours. But know this, you have the power to create the clarity you seek. You have the ability to build the confidence you need, and you have everything it takes to achieve the success you dream of. It's not about having all the answers, it's about having the courage to seek them out. So go for it. Take that next best step. Embrace the journey from confusion to clarity, from doubt to confidence. Because when you do, you're not just changing your finances or your business, you're changing your life. And in doing so, you're changing the world. One clear decision, one confident action at a time. Remember, financial clarity isn't just about numbers on a page. It's about freedom. It's about choice. It's about living life on your own terms. So don't just dream about financial freedom. Pursue it with everything you got, because on the other side of that pursuit is a life of purpose, impact, and yes, prosperity. As we end our time together, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise that you'll no longer let financial confusion hold you back. Promise that you'll seek clarity even when it's uncomfortable. Promise that you'll take action even when you're not sure of the outcome. Because it's in those moments of uncertainty that we often find our greatest strengths. The world is waiting for what you have to offer. It's waiting for the business you'll build, the lives you'll touch, the change you'll create. So go out there and shine your light. Be the beacon of financial clarity in your community. Be the change you wish to see in the world of business and finance. Your time is now. Your journey to financial clarity and confidence begins today. And I, for one, can't wait to see where it takes you. So here's the clarity, the confidence, and to the incredible future that awaits when we have the courage to take that next best step. Thank you for joining us on this transformative journey. Until next time, keep seeking clarity, keep building confidence, and keep taking those next best steps towards your dreams. The world is waiting, and your financial revolution starts now.